Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for our 2020 virtual livestock show. We are here with Andrew Weaver. He works at NC State and he is the small ruminant extension specialist there. And he has been our judge for several years, and we are happy to have him back and that he is flexible with this virtual show. And I'm going to turn it over to him. And
I think we have an individual that wins this fairly easily. I think in terms of, you start looking at these pigs, and we have a lot of litter mates. We have a lot of pigs that are born at a relatively same time. I'm somewhat familiar with how this project has worked in the past with working with you all the last couple years. And so, I assume that these pigs are pretty close in age. And this is the gilt that in terms of her weight per day of age just absolutely excels everything else. I think she has probably close to a 30-pound advantage on the rest of the class. And, I'm not just sorting them based on weight, but one that certainly has that advantage. And at the same time, this is one that, she's really good in her body. She's stout, she's big-ended. She has plenty of shape to her. One that I think sorts herself to the top for those reasons fairly easily. I think she's the stoutest pig in this class. She's the biggest body, the most open in her rib cage. She gets around and moves plenty well. If you wanted to get really picky, and I realize these are more commercial type hogs, you can clean her up in her front end and stretch her out in the front third of her body, but that's getting picky on pigs like this. But I just think she combines that stoutness and shape with the body capacity and structural build, and then that ability to perform and grow the best in this class. And so she sorts herself to the top there. And then we come back to, I think this is the video that would not show up. So this is another really nice gilt, and this young lady, I want to commend her for the job she's done in preparing this one and getting this one presented. This one certainly, you can tell, has been through the wash rack a few times, and one that is cleaned up real nice and presented very well. This is another nice gilt. She's she's shapely and has some top to her. She's got plenty of foot and bone. Another, a nice gilt here to fall in the second hole, and unfortunately, there's just the gilt that's just the powerhouse of the class to win this, or this one would, be right there in contention as well. And I think this is a really nice place, a nice gilt to be in second. It offers a lot of quality and traits I like about her. So, she's one that, certainly more time on feed and the opportunity to just add to that muscle mass and shape is going to help her. But one that for today, compared to the rest of the class, balances up very well. She brings that muscling and enough shape for me today. She's going to be the second place in that class. So then moving on down to third, we're going to stick with one of her litter mates actually, and make sure I can find the right video here. There we go. So another one of these litter mates, another one of these spot pigs, one that again, kind of a very similar type and kind, and you'll see that across these litters. One that's similar in terms of build and balance, one that has some muscle shape and dimension, one that has some foot and bone. I think the young ladies probably just does those things a little bit better than this one. Probably just a little bit more shapely, a little bit more expression down through the leg, and just a little bit further along in terms of that one's development compared to this one. But I think a really nice place to fall into third, and a nice gilt to be there for this young man. And then we're going to move on to our fourth here, and we're going to use this Wight gilt here, and one that I think when we start talking about fourth, fifth, and sixth in this class, there's some trade-offs, and I think they're really close, and there's some give and take, and I went back and forth some on this and which one to use, but I think I settled on this gilt here as the best kind of combination. And when you think about a pig that's built well enough, gets around well enough, given the genetics and kind that we're talking about, and one that has progressed along, that has fed well, that has some not too much finish, but enough that we know that they're growing and developing, and that muscle mass is is continuing to develop. I think this is the one that puts those pieces together. This is one that I think for its stage is adequate in terms of its finish and cover and has some shape to it. Sorry about that. Forgot to turn the sound off. Has some enough shape, kind of fits in that hole. And then we compare it to those other pigs that I said were pretty close, and we're going to go down here so we have this pig here that we talk about these pigs in 5th and 6th, and I think they're longer bodied hogs than that pig in 4th. These are longer, more extended pigs. I just don't think they have as much shape, not as much expression, and they're not nearly as far along in terms of their stage of development. They're a little bit harder bodied pigs that need a little bit more in terms of gut fill and capacity for me. But they are longer bodied pigs and more extended pigs. And we come back to, we look at our gilt that's going to be in 6th here. And I think it follows the type and kind of that one that's in 5th, another really long-bodied individual, but one that just gets a little bit harder in terms of her center body, one that we just need to add some gut fill and shape down through the center portion of her rib, one that we need to just mass up in terms of muscle shape down that some of those pigs above her have. We get down into this pig that's in 7th, this kind of blue butt pig here, one that gives up quite a bit in terms of size and mass, just a greener pig that's not nearly as far along in terms of development, one that we just need to keep on feed and progress further along to move this one up any higher. And it's a similar story here for the one that's going to be in 8th. I believe, this pig here. These 2 pigs here are just lighter weight individuals, ones that need more time on feed, more time to develop, to really be able to express that genetic potential. These are just pigs that today are just lighter muscled, greener in their kind, and just give up too much in terms of muscle mass and dimension and size to the other gilts in the class to move up any higher. But a nice class of gilts, I think a really nice individual to win, and I think a really nice gilt, that spotted gilt there in 2nd is I think another really nice individual for this class. So those were your gilts, a nice group there, and then we'll move on to the barrows. Here we go. So let me, this barrow here to win. He's one that, in having some top shape and width to him, one that has some balance and structural integrity. This one gets out and goes all right. Like I said, balances up, has enough body to him, and this one's coming at you, one that has, a little bit more width and dimension than some of the others in the class. And I think one that just kind of settles in that first place hole for those reasons. It just puts the most good things together for me today, and combining those carcass traits, that muscling, with stage of finish and stage of development, along with having a little bit of balance in body as well. And so we move from there to another one that's presented very well, that's shined up and cleaned up very nicely. One that I think compared to that barrow that wins the class probably gives up in terms of body and flank and muscle mass and dimension. But I think a really nice barrow here to be in 2nd. I think one that when you start comparing him to the others in the class, brings and combines that stage of finish, stage of condition, along with, some extension and some length of body, and cleanliness up through that front 1/3, probably better than some of the other barrows that are going to follow him. This is one that I think has plenty of potential to go on and develop and be a nice finished hog down the road. We jump in and we go back to some of those spot pigs here in our 3rd and 4th holes and some litter mates here. I think these spot pigs, I thought they just had a little bit more mass to them, a little bit more dimension than some of the others. I think this is a pig that does that and, has a little bit of width to its top and leg. And this is one, though, I talked about that barrow that was in 2nd as being, cleaner up through its front 1/3 and a little bit trimmer. I think that's, where this one could be improved. And this barrow here that's going to be in third is one that has a little bit of excess there through its jowl and lower third of its body. One that I think we could trim up, and probably one that's progressing a little bit faster than the others in terms of level of finish, especially for this size. But one I think that has enough bone and mass to it to stay in that third hole. We go down to our fourth place here, and let me open this here. Another spot pig here, and kind of follows a similar type as that other one. Again, one that needs to be cleaned up in terms of its jowl, and just take some of that waste away. Make this one a little bit more extended, a little bit more youthful and fresh. Another one though that just has that mass and has some shape and has some dimension to it. But one that we just need to really clean that one up through its jowl and balance that one up. I think that excess jowl gets a little bit wastier there up front, makes that one a little bit poorer in terms of balance compared to the others above it. We jump down to fifth here, and make sure I click on the right page. All these pigs here are litter mates, and so you're sorting out pigs that are genetically very similar, and I think you all can probably see that in these videos and in their type and kind. One here that again follows it's the same trend in terms of wanting to clean them up through their jowl and balance them up a little bit better. This one here, I thought of the spot pigs, probably had the least amount of shape and dimension to him. One that I just want to open up a little bit more in terms of its top shape, add a little bit more width and dimension when you get it behind this one. But one that I think is good enough and kind of falls in that fifth place hole as being able to, it has some muscle mass and carries some body and dimension to it, but you directly compare that to the spot pigs ahead of it, and I think probably gives up a little bit in those traits. And so we move on from there to our pig here that's going to be in sixth, and this is one that just gets a little bit flatter and plainer for me. One that we need to soften this one up in the center portion of its body. One that's look a little bit harder doing than those others. This is one that is, probably trimmer and more extended. But, one that we just need to soften up, make this one a little bit easier feeding, and add some more dimension to this one to move it up any higher. And then we round out the class with this pig here. Another one just gives up too much in terms of size and stage of development. Kind of a similar story, to what I talked about in the gilt class. One that we just need to have this one on feed a little bit longer to get this one to progress and show that genetic potential. One that just gives up too much in terms of muscle, and a nice pig, an extended pig, one that I think is surely and plenty functional. We just need to feed this one a little bit longer and let this one develop and get a little more shape to him before he can move up any higher today. But a nice group of barrows there, and a class with some trade-offs and some give and take, but a nice group there. So I think that gets through everything. Been willing to participate in this and be a part of these videos, and I know it's not the ideal format to get out and show, but I just want to commend this young man for doing this and participating. I think he does a great job, and he certainly has a ton of potential down the road. Here showing this gilt, he does a nice job of getting this one shown, and she wants to get out and go a little bit faster maybe than what he does, but he does a nice job of keeping control of her and keeping her going where he wants her to go, and I think he has a lot of future as a hog showman down the road, and I encourage him to keep up the good work and to stick with this project, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the future and how he develops as a showman. So great job with your pig there.